Everybody, unfortunately I've not been able to attend the demos, the anti-lockdown demos in London due to my own personal circumstances, but I've been keeping a close eye and watching the coverage of the protest, which this one's shared by RT News, I think, roughly. I must admit I wasn't very impressed with the coverage, which right from the start just is a camera in one position, just showing one position of the crowd, but then suddenly we do get some action and then they do actually move into the crowd because we get police action. So I'm just going to play this clip. As you can see, it's really peaceful. The media is saying there's about 15,000 people here. I think it could possibly be more because there's people up there and all around. We're not seeing the other side of the square. So I think there's probably more than 15,000 people there. And as you can see, it's all very peaceful. Nobody's causing any trouble. Nobody's vandalising anything. There's drummers up there playing, people cheering. You can see that there's a wide mixed range of people in there, people of all races. I've seen even a couple of Palestinian flags in there as well, and the Scottish flags, British flags. This is just members of the British public from all walks of life who've gathered to make their protest unrighteously because of what has been going on with this coronavirus scam, the scamdemic, the plandemic, and as you can see, there is absolutely nothing here. You can see there's more people around there. There's absolutely no trouble here. People performing their human right to peacefully protest at this power grab. You see, look at all the people up at the side still marching in here. You know, this demonstration's a lot more than 15,000 people. That much is clear. Okay, because look. Now, look over here. The police are moving in. Now, suddenly, after hours, RT News decides to start filming into the crowd. And we've got the police here, marching in, confronting directly the people. So the people are telling the police, choose your side. Why are these police supporting this evil government that is robbing them and their children and actually expecting them to deal with with a righteously angry and oppressed public? So there they are, pushing people. He's just pushed this man to the ground, agitating. This is agitation, police violence, agitation. They have got no right in. According to human rights, they're there to keep the peace, not to instigate violence and aggression. Right, look what they're doing. They're marching right into the crowd, agitating the crowd, pushing people out of the way. Look at them. Look at this. Who is the unruly mob here? Who is the unruly mob? Is it the protesters? Or is it not the police? Look at them. Look what they're doing. Dividing the crowd. Look at this elderly lady here she's got a stick, right? So people are sitting down now. And the crowd are rightfully shouting, shame on you, because they are behaving the opposite of, police officers serving a lawful society, upholding human rights. These are behaving like corporate thugs. And I think the police need to take a good long hard look at themselves, take a good long hard look at the coronavirus bill and the illegalities of it, and to remember that their children are going to be growing up and having their children in the world that they are helping to protect and create now by supporting this nonsense. And so here they are, the crowd have been separated, easily separated, because the crowd are non-violent. The police are there. Look, there they are. Divide and rule. It's happening right before our very eyes in real time. Divide and rule. Look, dividing the crowd, putting walls of police around, dividing the crowd, pushing people. Look, watch this. Deliberate provocation of this man. There you go. It's grabbed hold of him. Deliberate provocation. What the police are doing here is criminal, because they should have just been standing back, let the people have their protest, as is their right. They have a right. The law is on their side, because the facts of this coronavirus are on our side. Nobody needs to be wearing masks. The whole thing is highly suspect. These people have every right to protest. These police do not have a right to agitate and disturb people. Now, if they manage to get some arrests, provoke people, and they know who to pick on, then that will be what's in the newspaper tomorrow. How many people have been, taken into police custody. So the people are sitting down. Police are telling them in some places to get up. There you go, look. Dividing the people. Dividing the people. Tell him, no, this is over. You're not allowed to have this demo. You're not allowed to protest. You must swallow the media and government propaganda that is known to be telling us a proven pack of lies. So, what can we say except hats off to every person that attended this rally today, every person who is there in spirit, heart and spirit, every person who has done their bit towards exposing this horror, this dictatorship that is governing us today, that is asking questions, that is giving support to many of the people that are here, that have made it to Trafalgar Square today. Because we are a collective. Of course not everybody can get to London. But there they are, look, now they've got the sticks out. Did we see any sticks or violence or agitation among this crowd until they moved in, and now there they are ramping it up with the sticks? Pushing people who then naturally push back. We can see it unfolding before our eyes. Who is the law? Where is the law in Britain? And I think that sign there, this is now tyranny. It is, people. We need to accept the fact of it. We are in the grip of tyranny. And I would say, looking back now, this whole world has been in the grip of tyranny since 9/11, Britain since 7/7, and the tyranny's just got worse. And, I'm very, very pleased to see that people are really starting to pick up now on Ricky Coxon's absolutely fantastic research here that is published about the postal vote. The fact that, the Tories, while they've been in office this last 10 years, have privatised the post office, all in the hands of people who have direct links with Tories, even the postal vote itself, counting and organising and managing of it, all in the hands of same private companies that have direct connections to Tories. The fact that it was the postal vote that swung this criminal cabal an alleged landslide victory, that we have absolute concrete evidence, even through the BBC and Dominic Raab, that the postal votes, the results of the postal votes were known to the Conservative Party and the BBC the day before the general election, which is absolutely outrageous, considering that the postal vote is not even supposed to be looked at until after 10:30 p.m. when the polling stations are closed on the day of the GE. You know, these are facts. Our media and our police don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how the postal vote inexplicably doubled from 2017, because that's 2015, 2017, 2019. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the criminal content of the coronavirus bill that basically criminalises anybody so much as suspected as even carrying a common cold, based on the strength of tests that literally, if you test positive, that test could mean you simply have a common cold, because the test is looking for coronavirus, and the assumption is if you test positive for a coronavirus that you have COVID-19. That is the assumption that they are working on. So we're looking at the theft, the grand theft from our NHS now of 100 billion, an obscene amount of money, 2/3 of the NHS budget poured into private corporations now to test people, and even people being charged for those for those tests, and this threat hanging over us now of this experimental gene editing vaccine that will literally permanently rewrite our DNA. It's absolutely, this is tyranny. This is tyranny. And we are watching it unfold. And all I can do, you know, I mean, I've always had a lot of respect for the police. I know that there's corrupt elements within it, as there are in all areas of this corrupt world. But nonetheless, I respect the work that they do in protecting the public. You know, people know if somebody steals your car, somebody assaults you in the street, anything happens to you, you turn to the police. I mean, what kind of response you get is another question. But generally speaking, the police are there and they are doing a difficult job in difficult times. But I think even the police now have to start asking themselves, yes, which side do you choose? Who do you serve? Because are you serving law and order, sense and sanity, reality, balance, honesty, truth, justice, or are you actually protecting the absolute opposite of that? A set of criminals, child abusers, sex offenders, drug addicts. That's Parliament. That's the Tory party. And can we say the Labour Party at present is actually any better than the Tories? I mean, you know, we know that all sides are corrupt. We have witnessed a coup within the Labour Party, that literally the people, the public, members of the Labour Party are just being swept out. They're just clearing everybody out. Anybody who speaks up for Palestine, anybody who says anything about Zionism, oh, you're anti-Semitic, right, just gone, 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 gone. Jeremy Corbyn, gone, straight after the election. Yeah, that's why Labour didn't ask any questions about this, did they? But at the same time, you know, as I've said in my previous video, I've shared this about what's going on in America with the postal vote, and there's a big scandal because a few mail-in ballots were found in a waste paper bin, and a percentage of them apparently were for Trump. Okay, and that apparently tells us the Democrats, this is according to the President of the United States, that tells us, and even the FBI that have got involved, there is an inquiry into it, an official inquiry into 9 ballots that were found in a waste bin, okay, an official inquiry. But meanwhile, there's no official inquiry into the levels of tyranny that have accompanied this pandemic. There is absolutely no inquiry into the blatant evidence. We're talking motive, opportunity, intent. This massive major scandal of the Tories, literally owning the post office, owning the managing and counting of the postal vote, that inexplicably doubles. As I've said in my previous video, if this was 2020, you could understand it, you'd expect it. With COVID and the viral xenophobia around it, but not in 2019. It is outrageous. We have a lot to protest about. We have a lot to do in this country in terms of standing up against our rights, because there's a huge, heavy force of pressure against us. And why are the police? The police are not supposed to be government thugs. That is not their duty in a democratic society. Their duty first and foremost is to uphold democracy. And democracy at the moment has been attacked by a force of tyranny that gave itself a landslide victory, as far as we lawfully suspect. And now you police, according to lawful suspicion, need to be arresting members of parliament, ministers. You need to be demanding an inquiry into tyranny. Our MI5, MI6, instead of giving, Parliament giving you powers to go and kill people in Britain and abroad, to kill and torture people, you lot really ought to have been investigating this government and arresting them because they're a threat to national security. Because they have devastated the economy, which security services are supposed to protect the economy. You're supposed to protect democracy, and you're not doing it. Instead, you've colluded with the tyrants in order to give yourself powers to torture, kidnap, torture and kill people in Britain and abroad. That is absolutely disgusting. And the fact that even the High Court gave you powers to do it. Well, I think that we need a class action to take the High Court to court and take it all to the Supreme Court. Because the High Court has got no rights whatsoever to grant MI5 or anybody the rights to kidnap, torture and kill people in a country where democracy has decreed that the death sentence is prohibited and murder is a capital offence. We have slipped down a very, very, very far down a slippery slope, and you need to be thinking, right? Is there any other country that you can run to? What kind of world are your children's children going to be growing up in? And who will they be able to thank for it? Is what you need to be asking yourself. Okay? Because I am outraged at this. I am outraged to witness a peaceful crowd being agitated by the police, who are supposed to be there to uphold the peace. And there we've witnessed them with our own eyes doing the exact opposite. So it is time that, as I say, I'm not asking the public, the police are our enemy, but I do believe that the police now do need to be asking questions themselves now about, look, what is really going on here. Now, myself, I've shared lots of information. I always leave lots of links under my videos. I'll leave the link to my last video under this. It's got lots of links. I ask you to look at the evidence. David Yates. David Yates, every day he's made how many videos? David Yates, every single day. I'll leave a couple of his latest videos under here. You know, ordinary British citizens telling it like it is. And maybe it's time that you people, you police especially, the security services, the military, it's time you started asking yourselves, well, what are you really serving? What are you really about? Because one day you're not going to be here, but your children, your children's children will be here. What kind of world will they be growing up in? And for those of us who do believe we have a soul, and many of us do actually return back into life again and again and again, you know, basically, if you understand that, you understand you will be inhabiting the future, the world of future generations. You know, whichever way you look at it. We have a duty, we have a responsibility. You know, that's why men like my grandfather, my uncles, you know, they went into war. They were prepared to sacrifice their lives, if necessary, for the next generation, as my grandfather did, and so many other men like it. Values, you know, that is where we need to come down to right now, is, you know, what values do we have? What do we value about life? These people, they want to turn us literally into cattle. They already treat us like cattle, but now they actually want to turn us into cattle. You know, track and trace. What's that if it's not a tag? What is it if it's not a tag? Oh, come on, you've all got to have your vaccinations. Just like the cattle that they vaccinated every farm. Oh, you've got to have your vaccinations. That is what is going on. They're literally turning humanity into cattle. They're literally, they are threatening us. Their vaccine is a threat. Will you police and the military, are you going to be there? Forcing people to have experimental gene editing vaccines? Well, I hope you're prepared to take your part in the responsibility for the judgment that is coming. The judgment that will come against all who fail to do their duty and stand up for their rights in the face of tyranny. Because that is a duty of every single sovereign citizen of Britain, has a duty to confront tyranny, has a duty to stand up for democracy in the face of tyranny. And all these people that are at this demo today, they are performing their social duty. All the people who stand with them, who couldn't be there, we are performing our social duty. All the people who are speaking out and sharing information to empower, because knowledge is power, okay? That's the only reason why I make my videos, is to share the knowledge. It's the same with people like David Yates. Knowledge is power. We are standing up. We are doing our duty, our lawful, righteous, sacred duty. Because I firmly believe, and many people do today, we are the people here, the adults of today now, we are the last living line of defence between the children of today and tomorrow and absolute tyranny. And I tell you now, that tyranny will go on for a long, long, long time. Okay, to the extent that we may never get our human rights again. And we cannot forget, in Britain, it was over 1,000 years from the invasion of William the Conqueror that we, the people, have been denied our rights. It was from that time that women's rights were trashed, women and children stripped of their rights, and we never even got a taste of them until the 1970s. This is from over 1,000 years, it's 1066 to the 1970s. I tell you, wake up, people, wake up, get active, do your duty. We all have a duty to stand by facts, reality, honesty, our rights, the law, and democracy.